Okay, welcome to Hospitality and Tech with Ed, where we explore the trends, people, and innovations shaping the future of hospitality. And today I'm joined by Saar Shai, and we're diving into Wonderland. So let's get into it. So, Saar, thank you so much for agreeing to speak with me. I really appreciate it. The way I found you was actually on LinkedIn, seeing one of your articles, and I thought the brands that you built was really interesting. It put a lot of questions in my mind, so I had to reach out to you straight away. So, yeah, I'd love to find out, who you are, what your business is.
Great. So I'm glad that you did. Um, my business is Wonderland. I started it with my wife about over a year ago. Um, we've been partnering for many years, coming from a background of game design, toy invention, book publishing, everything that's to do with kids' experiences and kids' products and innovations. And um, about a bit more than a year ago, we decided to look into other industries to see whether there's synergy with anywhere else. We like to start fresh. We like to look at different aspects. Also considering the know-how, the expertise, the experience, and the network that we established in games and toys, we wanted to kind of bring it to an industry where that's not as prominent. And we found hospitality, which is something that we have always loved. And also, especially considering the rapid technological changes that are really imminently going to disrupt so many industries, hospitality seems kind of an analog thing where it's human connection, where it's going to be, at least for the near future, still remains something that's human. And we decided to look at first at city hotels, at luxury hotels.
Yeah.
We figured, and I might get into that later on because we might have figured wrong, but we figured that resorts might be destinations and resort might be properties that know what they're doing. Uh, the all inclusive clubs, they really are packed with activities, with space, with entertainers, and we didn't want to kind of go in and be welcomed with, well, why do we need you?
Yeah.
So we looked at city hotels. We looked at hotels that don't have the space, hotels that don't really explicitly welcome kids. First of all, to see what they're doing, and what we found is sadly very little. Um, First of all, when they think of the family segment, for them, family is a family with a 6-year-old girl, or four, 3-year-old boy. So there's the
Yeah.
tent in the room, there's the coloring book, uh, sometimes milk and cookies and turn down. Oh, and sometimes they give a teddy, right? Like a generic teddy that
Yes.
they, right.
I've
Um,
seen those.
and it's fascinating how kind of pervasive this is. Also, very interestingly, we looked at upscale, we looked at luxury and top luxury. What they're doing is the quality of what they're doing. So I'm not even talking about what they're doing, but the level of how they do it is not so dissimilar or not so elevated from 3 star hotels, from budget hotels. So
Yeah.
we decided to go and kind of bring what we have done and what we know is happening in kids industries to create these welcome innovations, to create hospitality moments that are really designed for kids, also for 8-year-olds, for 12-year-olds, for 16-year-olds. So talking about teens as well, which no one's doing. And for a year, we've been introducing ourselves to the industry, talking to hoteliers, talking to managers about challenges. It's quite an intricate industry with owners, with management companies, with franchises, really kind of wrapping our heads around that. And then in the past few months, we started to work with some really beautiful brands on some really interesting things for kids, specifically for kids and teens. So not talking about families, not talking about connecting rooms, talking about the unique perspective of a child going into the hotel, leaving the hotel, having that personal relationship with the brand, which is also something I would mention, which we always look at the commercial value for the hotel and the hotel brand
Yeah.
itself. So it's not
Yeah.
just about the guest experience, it's also about the PR story they can tell, the comms piece, the marketing content, the loyalty piece, returns, referrals, reviews. We look at all of that. And in fact, the power of influence that kids and teens have in the family, even though they're not the ones who book, they are more often than not, and in quite an increasing degree, the ones who actually decide where to go.
And I think that was the point that got me the most surprised, because when I was a kid, from being six, from the age of being able to speak all the way to still living under my parents' house roof, I never had any say into wherever we went, let alone the type of hotel we went to. So, but yeah, it looks like, yeah, times have definitely changed from that aspect. Do you do you have any stats that you think would be interesting for people to know in this area?
Yeah. So at the end of 2024, we wrote the first Kids and Teens Hospitality Report, looking at the industry, looking what hotels are doing, more aptly what they're not doing, and also what they could be doing, and looking at how influential kids are, and teens are. Um, Off the top of my head, and also the most recent data, I'll give as an example. So YouGov published a survey only a few weeks ago that shows that US teens are actually involved in 57% of family decisions of destination and choice of
Wow.
hotel. So more than half are actually actively involved in the decision making, and yet, you know, they're completing those. So it's not single percentage. It's half. Um,
Yeah.
there's data from the um, World Travel Association, I believe, that talks about also numbers from 67% to 80%, different levels of involvement in planning the holiday and deciding where to go and also what to do during the holiday. So we're talking about really decision makers and influencers in the family, and that is not just for, you know, one or two people. Typically a family is 4 or 5 people. So when we're talking about a decision, we're talking about at least 1.5 rooms, if not 2 rooms, and a longer stay, so much more valuable for hotels.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think it's an area that it's totally untapped, and I think it's, yeah, it's, I think you've chosen a really good area to become an expert in. Um, I suppose my next question would be, can you share, any kind of real world example of how this would play out in a hotel state where it does influence the kids or the adolescents to want to come back?
Yeah. I'll try to give some broad examples that don't touch on some work that we've done with some of our clients.
Yeah.
First of all, we look at the entire child journey, even before they get to the hotel and after they leave the hotel. One of the very interesting thing is the phase of anticipation from booking, and how, for example, when parents tell their kids where they're going, there's this excitement, anticipation, which can last, 6 months until the actual thing. And yet, as far as the hotel, maybe they're saying, oh, well, there's a swimming pool. But what we want to do is we want to give hotels the tools to give the parents, basically, to make them the heroes of this, and let them be able to tell more about where they're going and why they should be excited about it. The other thing is to do with what can be termed data collection, but we don't look at it that way. Also, especially because of limitations in digital data collections. We're talking actually about a more personal connection, and there's a lot of talk in this industry about personalization, about knowing the guests, and we have designed a very fun questionnaire that hotels send parents to ask their kids, or to give their kids or show their kids. So there's different ways of doing it, digitally and also physically, where the hotel knows the child's preferences, their likes and dislikes. Also, it's asked in a very fun way, and it also shows the child that they are going to receive the same level of hospitality, the same level of respect, which the parents get, which they crave. They go to a hotel and they feel like typically second class citizens in a way. So I'll give a specific example. The kids menu is something that, and we've done a survey on that. So we looked at many hotels and also other F&B establishments, and the kids menu is almost always either smaller, it's definitely separate, smaller, and poorly printed one page, versus the big selection and the typically kind of more well designed and well presented adult menu. It might seem a trivial thing, but kids pick up on these things, and it really shows the difference between the attitude towards them. And we're working with a couple of our clients, specifically with F&B, to redesign the kids menu and actually make it even bigger than the parents menu, which it's such an easy thing to do, and it's such a beautiful spectacle.
Okay. So thank you for that. So in terms of clients or next steps, where are you at in terms of stages with Wonder?
So what we're actually now is at a very interesting stage, where we figured out, by listening to our clients and hotels and hoteliers that we're talking with and our advisors, that the value of the comms story, the PR element of what we're doing, might be even greater than the guest experience impact. The guest experience can increase returns, reviews, and referrals, the 3 R's that we call them. But the story around what we're doing, especially since most of what we're doing is an industry first, is significant. We specifically received a lot of coverage from the travel and hospitality press when we released our report, and they indicated that they're very keen to hear about these new things, as hotel brands adopt them and roll them out. And that's really what we're trying to look into. So one of the things that we're doing is partnering PR agencies that have quite significant experience in hospitality and travel, to help us figure out how best and to tell the story, and also help the hotel brands best kind of do justice to it. Because really, a lot of what we're doing is an industry first. So it would be the first hotel group or the first hotel brand to do this. And that is a forever thing. That would be, they would forever be known as the ones who did it first. So it's a huge opportunity, and really excited about that, because it really elevates what we're proposing. It's not just a guest experience piece that's kind of contained, even though it's quite impactful. This is quite a media, a big media piece that can live for a long time.
No, it makes sense. Now, let's say a hotelier is watching this. What would you say to them in terms of why should they care about this? Why should they care about, keeping kids and adolescents loyal?
So first of all, I hope that from what I said, it's pretty clear as far as the um, power of influence and decision making that kids have. Um, it's also specific to teens. Now, with teens, it's not only that they're influential as far as choices of hotel, destination, and other travel choices, they are very plugged in to the social media landscape. TikTok has a whole travel division. It has become a travel search engine, and I think the numbers are 75 or 80% of teens worldwide are on TikTok. Like that's just an insane number, and yet it's just crazy to us that no one's doing it. So, and then the third part of why you should do something for teens is the fact that they're going to be travelers in their own right quite soon, right? Um, Also, what we discovered is that brand loyalty starts at an early age, but it kind of peaks at the teen level. So if you can grab a teen to be loyal to a brand, you really get it for a very long time. Um, so that these would be really the reason. The other thing I would say is that the the um the industry seems to be diversifying to different types of experiences, wellness, lifestyle, and the family segment has always been stable throughout, um, and is now showing the signs of growing, and it is also expanding to micro niches such as leisure, where working parents bring their kids. The second is multi-gen and skip-gen travel, where the grandparents either take the whole family or kind of skip the parents and take the kids. That's something that we're seeing indications quite a bit. Um, I think it's a
Yeah.
really safe bet to go for the kids because they're because of the brand loyalty, because they will be travelers in their own right, but also because anything that you do for a child is multiplied. It's not just for the child. Once you delight and wow a child, you delight the parents, which it really is for
Yeah.
them about the kids. So you're kind of getting threefold the impact of whatever you're doing.
That's a really good thing to hear. That's probably the best part of the conversation. Um, Look, this is great, and in terms of a call to action to hoteliers that are interested in this kind of strategy and would like to work with Wonderland, what would you say?
I would give them my co-founder's email. She's also my wife. So that would be Alicia, Alicia, at Wonderland with an A dot
Yeah,
London. And we are still in a very in our early stage where we're keen to establish these relationships. We're keen to learn a lot about hospitalities, about hotels. There's really many different types, and we're really doing our best to listen and to tailor what we're building to be as streamlined, as easy and cheap to implement, but also have the maximum impact. So absolutely get in touch. We'd love to talk. We'd love to help wherever we can, and we also have some really interesting brand partnership opportunities that we're exploring that uh, really would be um, would be lucrative for anyone who can really jump on it in the next couple of months.
yeah, definitely. That's brilliant. Yeah, thank you so much, Look, that was a fascinating conversation with Saar Shai.